Hey, everybody, welcome into Player Profiler today for Wednesday, June the 5th. I am Grindberg, Senior Analyst for the Player Profiler News Desk, and I'm here every Wednesday bringing you the news for Player Profiler today. So let's get this show going with our top story. After Justin Jefferson signed his massive deal on Monday, perhaps some of the other big name wide receivers looking for new contracts will start getting some progress in their negotiations. Let's dig deeper into three wide receivers that have not yet participated in OTAs and have yet because of their contract disputes. This is our top story. Well, it looks like CeeDee Lamb's contract talks with the Dallas Cowboys are stirring up excitement on both on and off the field. Comparing his stats to Justin Jefferson suggests that Lamb, with his better health record, deserves a healthy deal, possibly around the $34 million a year mark. If Lamb and Jefferson both secure extensions totaling around 150 with $100 million guaranteed, it could shake up the rest of why these wide receivers will get paid. Lamb's absence from the Cowboys minicamp due to contract negotiations is a clear signal of how crucial it is for the Dallas Cowboys to lock him up long term. With fines looming for missing practice, the Cowboys risk losing Lamb's impact both on and off the field and with, team morale. Coach Mike McCarthy's understanding of Lamb's situation shows that the team knows just how valuable and how important he is to their offensive game plan. After Jefferson's large contract, Lamb is next in line for a hefty payday. His stellar performance in fantasy football last year, finishing as the top wide receiver in certain formats, highlights his value to fantasy managers. However, there are some concerns about a potential dip in his red zone usage and touchdowns this upcoming season, something fantasy drafters should keep in mind. Looking ahead, though, Lamb's future in dynasty formats is promising. His constant improvement, durability, and chemistry with quarterback Dak Prescott make him a cornerstone player for dynasty teams. Lamb's stats get better from 2022 to 2023, prove that he can thrive as the main weapon in the Cowboys offense, making him a sought-after asset for fantasy managers aiming for a long-term success. In fantasy football trades, getting Lamb on your team requires really, really important negotiations with this valuable asset. It's a big investment. Lamb's track record and potentially justify this move. So Lamb needs to get that contract done for the Cowboys. I think that is a big stay priority for the Cowboys moving forward. I don't think they're going to stall too bad. I think they were waiting to see what this Jefferson contract looks like, and this could be the next step in the CeeDee Lamb case here. So hopefully we get some progress there. We need to see CeeDee Lamb suit up for the Cowboys and in 2024. So the next free agent, or not free agent, but OTA holdout is Brandon Aiyuk, and he's grabbing headlines too and discussions in football circles as talks continue. Projections suggest a significant extension for Aiyuk, likely exceeding $30 million annually, especially in the light of this recent Jefferson record-breaking deal. Aiyuk's absence from mandatory minicamp underscores the tension surrounding his contract situation. With a potential trade rumor swirling and Aiyuk eyeing a lucrative deal, the 49ers face a crucial decision regarding their star receiver. Statistically, Aiyuk's performance in 2023 showcased his potential as a top-tier asset. Despite sharing the field with other big playmakers like Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and obviously Christian McCaffrey, Aiyuk demonstrated his ability to thrive in the 49ers offense, hinting at continued success in the upcoming season and beyond. Analyzing Aiyuk's dynasty outlook, it's evident that he checks off all the boxes for a foundational piece in fantasy football. His rapport with quarterback Brock Purdy and the stability of the 49ers offense further solidifies his value as a long-term asset if he can sign and extend that deal. Comparing Aiyuk to the past receiver greats reveal his promising trajectory. While there are concerns about his volume and his red zone opportunities, his talent and potential growth make him an enticing option as a wide receiver too in fantasy drafts. Despite risks, Aiyuk's track record suggests a significant upside, and savvy managers are willing to invest in his future. And I hope the 49ers, for his sake, are willing to invest in his future as well. I like what I see in that 49ers offense. And another guy is getting steamed up right now and is creating headlines in the 49ers OTA camp, and that's Ricky Pearsall. He's creating a very good rapport with Brock Purdy from what I'm hearing. Pearsall is an incredible separator, and he's going to be able to do that at the NFL level, I'm sure. And Brock Purdy has already been targeting him quite a bit in these OTAs. So we'll have to keep an eye on that evolving situation. The Jawan Jennings sign could be an indicator that one of these top tier wide receivers could be on the move for the 49ers. So something that we're going to really have to keep our eye on, and something that you should as a fantasy manager, because if you can get your hands on a Ricky Pearsall share now, that'd be something that you'd be interested in doing, because you never know. There could be one of these top name guys out of the 49er lineup, and he could be an integral part. But Brandon Aiyuk looking for that big contract, and another guy that has also been standing out of the OTAs for their team, and that's wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals, T. Higgins. He finds himself in a contract negotiation limbo. He has a franchise tag still unsigned as the deadline approaches. This delay raises questions about his future with the Bengals and adds uncertainty to the team's plans for this upcoming season. Higgins' decision not to sign the franchise tender before OTAs has left fans and analysts speculating about his intentions and whether he'll eventually report to the team. With the deadline for a long-term extension looming, the situation remains unresolved. Despite the contract drama, Higgins remains a coveted asset in fantasy football circles. His impressive performance in 2023, despite challenges like missed games and quarterback issues, underscores his potential as a top-tier wide receiver. Looking ahead, Higgins' youth, athletic ability, his versatility, making him an appealing target for fantasy managers seeking long-term success. His potential to thrive in various offensive schemes adds to his value, making him a desirable addition to any fantasy roster. While concerns about volume and consistency exist, Higgins' track record suggests that he has the talent and potential to deliver significant returns for fantasy managers who invest in him. As the offseason progresses, his value is likely to rise, making now an opportune time to target him in dynasty leagues. His contract is still uncertain. He hasn't signed that tag yet, and he could be on the move. And if he is on the move, he'd be on the move to a team that is needing a top-tier wide receiver, and I think his opportunity would be there. And if he does end up playing for the Bengals in 2024, we know what his upside is as a wide receiver too. So somebody to keep your eye on. And if he is on the move, we got to be looking at Jermaine Burton as a heir to those targets, and somebody that you should be, looking at in your drafts as a late round sleeper, especially if T. Higgins is on the move. But he'll get steamed up if that were to happen. So now before we move on to our next section of the show, we're going to hear a little promo from the Podfather himself. Let's go.
Hey, why do we partner with the FFPC? Because they have the widest variety of fantasy football formats, and it's the easiest place to find all types of fantasy football contests in the world. What if you want to play for high stakes? Well, they have a $6 million prize pool with their Fantasy Players Championship. They also have way too early best ball leagues that start in February and dynasty leagues. They have the closest thing to a liquid market for orphans that there is in all of Dynasty. And the FFPC has sponsored us for half a decade because we are actually delivering information that can help fantasy gamers, and they're generating so much interest and bringing in so many new users, casual users even. The FFPC creates a unique experience where you can both compete against the best and make money. Use promo code UNDERWORLD to get $25 off your first team. $25 off your first team at the FFPC with promo code UNDERWORLD. Go get it!
Go get it. Yeah, we are going to go get it at FFPC. And moving on to more headlines here, we're just going to recap the big news of the week. And, it's been talked about on the show yesterday and the day before. So we're going to spend a little bit minimal time on the Justin Jefferson and the Christian McCaffrey contracts. And then we'll give a brief recap of what happened in OTAs the last week for every single team. So it'll be a brief recap on that. So before we do that, let's get into the headline. So Christian McCaffrey's contract extension with the San Francisco 49ers not only reshaped the running back market, but also solidified his status as one of fantasy football's elite assets. With a lucrative 2-year extension worth $19 million per year, McCaffrey maintains his position as the highest paid running back in NFL history. The deal, totaling $62 million over 4 years with $24 million fully guaranteed, underscores McCaffrey's invaluable contributions to the 49ers offense. Since joining the 49ers in 2022, McCaffrey has been the linchpin of Kyle Shanahan's offensive schemes. In 2023, he led the league in rushing yards with 1,459 yards on 272 carries, accompanied by 14 touchdowns. His versatility was on full display, tallying 564 yards on 57 catches with an additional 7 touchdowns. From a fantasy football perspective, McCaffrey's value is simply unmatched. His stellar performance in 2023 cemented his status as the top fantasy running back, boasting career rushing highs and scoring numbers despite a slight decrease in his receptions compared to his Carolina days. McCaffrey's efficiency remained stellar, averaging 6 yards per touch and leading all running backs with a 19% target share. However, concerns lingering regarding McCaffrey's workload. He has touched the ball 798 times over the last 2 years, including the postseason. Yet his durability, his skill set mitigate these worries, with McCaffrey remaining largely healthy throughout his aside. These are isolated incidents. While McCaffrey's age and past history warrant consideration, his ongoing dominance in fantasy football makes him a coveted asset in every style of format. As he enters 2024, McCaffrey's role with the 49ers' high-powered offense ensures continued production, maintaining his status as a top-tier option at the position. And now guys are getting steamed up in that rank. He's been surpassed by guys like Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, and Jahmyr Gibbs in dynasty circles at this stage. But this 2-year extension could steam him up now. People could be more lenient and wanting to pick McCaffrey for his league-winning upside. Even in dynasty startups, he's still a sure bet for at least this year and probably next year if he can stay healthy. We know his dominance in fantasy football and in regular football. Guy's a game changer. And another game-changing move, the Vikings and Justin Jefferson shook up the world. Jaw-dropping $140 million extension, including that whopping $110 million guaranteed. Jefferson now reigns as the highest paid wide receiver and non-quarterback in NFL history. Since his rookie days in 2020, Jefferson's been lighting up the field, quickly becoming one of the league's top wideouts. His debut season wowed fans with 1,400 yards, nearly snagging Offensive Rookie of the Year. The next year, he blew up even more with 10 touchdowns, 1,600 yards, sealing his status as an elite player. For Jefferson, this extension is a dream come true, a reward for his journey from a 3-star recruit to the NFL stardom. He's quick to thank his family. With the Vikings switching gears at quarterback, Jefferson still shining bright. Even without Kirk Cousins, he will be the cornerstone of this offense. His dynasty outlook, well, record-setting career pace, 392 receptions, almost 6,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. He's dominant. He's consistent. Sure, there are some unknowns like who's going to be tossing in the ball, but with his track record, his top-tier dynasty asset will be not challenged. Jefferson, a sure bet, the kind of player you build fantasy teams around. So He's a guy that they solidified long term. We talked about guys that are still in the queue waiting for their big deals. And I think Jefferson is the first domino to fall here and solidifying this wide receiver class. So let's go with this and we'll see what happens with the CeeDee Lamb. I'm excited to see what his contract brings. Be interesting to see if the Cowboys match it or surpass it. So let's go on that. So now we're at the stage of the show where we're just going to do a quick recap of all headlines from OTAs this past week. And we're going to start in the NFC with the NFC West and the Los Angeles Rams. Running back Kyren Williams is dealing with another foot injury, casting doubts on his availabilities for these OTAs. Rookie Blake Corum could see increased opportunities due to Williams' injury history, making him a valuable handcuff with RB1 upside. Williams' ADP is affected by his injury, while Corum is becoming a draft target. Down in San Francisco, receiver Juwan Jennings signed a 2-year deal, proving depth and competition for snaps in wide receiver sets. We talked about Brandon Aiyuk being absent from voluntary OTAs, seeking that contract extension. Negotiations are ongoing with Aiyuk aiming for a new deal. Rookie Ricky Pearsall getting extra snaps in Aiyuk's absence. We talked about that too. So let's continue to monitor that situation. Seattle Seahawks, Geno Smith is taking first team reps at the OTAs, indicating a potential role change with Sam Howell running the second team. Smith is optimistic about the new offensive scheme under OC Ryan Grubb, which could benefit Seattle's passing game. Smith could be a late round fantasy option due to offensive changes. He is not that far removed from a very good 2022 season where we saw Geno Smith take on a role in his career that we hadn't seen before. So looking for more of that kind of play from Geno Smith heading into 2024. And the Arizona Cardinals, not much news there. They're still waiting on a couple news items from Marvin Harrison Jr. And Trey Benson as they're added to their rookie camps here. Now let's head towards the NFC South, where we're going to talk about the New Orleans Saints. And Taysom Hill has been taking reps as a shotgun running back, adding another layer to his versatility role in this offense under new OC Clint Kubiak. While Hill hasn't been throwing much in practice, his presence raises concerns for Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller's goal line opportunity. Hill has a history of scoring rushing touchdowns, and Jamal Williams also in the mix. The Saints' backfield situation becomes even more unpredictable moving forward, but a lot of people still think that Alvin Kamara still got some left in the tank, and I'm one of those guys. So we'll see what happens there moving forward with the Saints and that running back situation. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are expected to see more playing time in the slot for Chris Godwin, position he excelled at before moving outside under former OC Dave Canales. With new OC Liam Cohen envisioning Godwin in a role similar to Cooper Kupp's in the Rams offense, there's optimism for increased production from the slot, being drafted later than he should. Godwin's ADP remains low at wide receiver 42. So some interesting situations there. I'd love to see Godwin back in the slot. If he plays there, we could see him crack the top 24 at the position if everything goes into play and they're still a high-flying offense like they were last year. Carolina Panthers looking to get some chemistry between Deontay Johnson and Bryce Young, and they are working Jonathan Brooks. He has not been on the field yet because of his injury, the rehab going on there, but the chemistry between Deontay Johnson and Bryce Young is starting to gather steam. And then let's move on to the NFC North and the Chicago Bears. DeAndre Swift emphasizes the importance of multi-backs in the offense despite his significant contract. So we should be looking for Khalil Herbert and Roschon Johnson to have roles alongside Swift. This backfield could be a mess moving into 2024, one that I am staying away from until I see some clarity in what's happening. Moving on to the Detroit Lions, and Jameson Williams is raising praise in OTA, showcasing improvement and potential. Jahmyr Gibbs is expected to have an increased role as well, particularly in the passing game. Additionally, there's discussion about the team's approach about utilizing him in the running back situation. So look for Jahmyr Gibbs to have another big year, continue to build off his strong finish in 2023. And I'm excited to see what this Lions offense looks like and how they're going to build off their incredible 2023. Moving on to the Vikings, TJ Hawkinson is uncertain about his return timeline after that major knee surgery. Justin Jefferson, he skipped the voluntary workouts, but he did secure that lucrative contract extension, though his fantasy value is affected by the quarterback change from Kirk Cousins to Jay McCarthy or potentially Sam Darnold. He is still, like I said, an elite dynasty asset. And moving on to the Green Bay Packers, and Matt LaFleur expresses a preference for a running back platoon system, suggesting a shared workload among the running backs. Josh Jacobs, acquired from the Raiders, is expected to be the primary back, but might not see that full bell cow usage that some of us were hoping for coming into the new situation for the Packers. Christian Watson is addressing hamstring issues for improved performance. Tucker Kraft is sidelined with a left arm injury, impacting his competition with Luke Musgrave. So the Packers, an up-and-coming team, seem like they always are dealing with some sort of injury at the running back position, and it looks like Josh Jacobs is already dealing with something there. So look for that and keep that monitoring, folks. Moving on to the NFC East and the Dallas Cowboys, Jake Ferguson's aims to build off his 2023 successful season as he replaces Dalton Schultz. CeeDee Lamb absent from OTAs. We talked about that new contract. Moving on to Darren Waller, who skipped OTAs and now is contemplating retirement. It looks like he's going to retire. Slayton seeks a new contract, and Daniel Jones participates on the 7-7 drills as he recovers from his torn ACL. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles, and Devontae Parker retired, leaving a vacancy at the third wide receiver position. The team plans to be a more run-heavy offense under Cliff Kingsbury. So we'll see what happens in that situation. And the Washington Commanders, the Brian Robinson situation continues to be a situation worth monitoring with this no-huddle offense Cliff Kingsbury plans to bring it in. It could affect Brian Robinson's fantasy production, making him more advantageous in that situation. So Jaden Daniels is also now considered a top value at the quarterback position in early drafts. The skepticism with Jaden Daniels is that if he can play a full season because of how dangerously he can run and not protect himself, we'll see if that translates in the NFL level. Let's move on to the AFC. So the Denver Broncos in the AFC West, there is a crowded backfield with competition at running back, it seems, including Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, Samaje Perine, Audric Estime, and now Blake Watson enters the mix. The development of Estime could impact roster decisions. Tight end Greg Dulcich is recovering from foot and hamstring injuries. First-round pick Bo Nix is impressing early at the OTAs and could be the starting quarterback right out of the gate. Kansas City Chiefs are focusing on reviving their deep threat passing game during OTAs, aiming to improve Mahomes' league worst average depth of target. They've acquired speedster Marquise Brown, Xavier Worthy to aid this effort. Worthy signed his contract today, so that is good news for them. Receiver Rashee Rice is back at practice after serving those legal troubles. His ADP has dropped due to the potential suspension, but he may not be suspended in 2024 either. So this situation is ever evolving. Chargers, Ladd McConkey showing promise, lining up both inside and outside at OTAs. There's speculation that he is developing a connection with quarterback Justin Herbert, positioning McConkey as a potential weekly starter in PPR formats right out of the gate. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders and their open competition, it seems, at the quarterback position between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. I'm hearing that Aiden O'Connell is the front runner right now, and it's his job to lose, but that is coach speak. So we'll see what happens when minicamp opens. Now we got the AFC South and Houston Texans wide receiver Nico Collins signed that lucrative extension last week, indicating a shift towards a more prominent role in the offense. Running back Damian Pierce is expected to complement Joe Mixon in that backfield. Tank Dell is recovering well from a gunshot wound, is expected to contribute to the receiving core. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts, and running back Jonathan Taylor has been absent from the OTAs for personal reason. Trey Sermon seems to be the primary backup in practice sessions. Quarterback Anthony Richardson is maintaining his dual threat style despite injury concerns. Jacksonville Jaguars. The coaching staff plans to reduce Travis Etienne's workload and involve Tank Bigsby more. We heard about that last year in this time of year. We'll see if that comes to fruition. I'm hearing Bigsby has improved, but he's going to have to clean up those fumbling issues if he plans on digging into Travis Etienne's workload. Tennessee Titans coaching staff sees Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears as interchangeable options at the running back position, with both expected to contribute in rushing and receiving roles, and that is still consistent today. I heard reports of that being true as of this afternoon. AFC North, Baltimore Ravens, Derrick Henry may need to adapt his playing style to fit into Baltimore's offense, which relies less under the center snaps compared to his previous team. Running back Keaton Mitchell is recovering from ACL tear and is unlikely to be available for the start of the season. Lamar Jackson has shed some weight, potentially increasing his speed. Wow, that'll be exciting to see that. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow's throwing won't be restricted as he returns from wrist surgery. Wide receiver T. Higgins is holding out. We talked about that in depth. And running back is rehabbing. The Cleveland Browns rehabbing Nick Chubb's knee, and he did not participate in OTAs or in minicamp. Deshaun Watson is ramping up his throwing and is expected to be ready for the season opener. Moving on to the Steelers, and Russell Wilson is being favored to be the starting quarterback, with Justin Fields expected to have some playing time. Najee Harris has been the focus of his diet and training, and he has shed up to 20 pounds. I heard he's at around the 220 mark. He's improving his performance in a contract year, no doubt. AFC East, the Buffalo Bills, there will be a battle for their number one target at wide receiver. It looks like there's going to be between Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel. There is some speculation that Khalil Shakir could be that number one target as the slot receiver, but we shall see how that all plays out in Buffalo as this offseason progresses. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle for the Miami Dolphins received a hefty contract extension. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa attended voluntary workouts and is in talk for a long-term deal. He also worked on improving his agility. The team is optimistic about his performance despite his limited running ability. In New England, Jacoby Brissett is currently the first team rep quarterback at OTAs. There is patience with rookie Drake May, who might show promise later in the season. The offensive line faces challenges due to injury, potentially impacting performances all around for the offensive weapons for the New England Patriots. New York Jets rookie Braylon Allen is poised to take the backup for Breece Hall. Aaron Rodgers, recovering from his Achilles injury, is participating fully in OTAs. Mike Williams is still recovering from his ACL, and there is possibility of top cornerback Sauce Gardner shadowing opposing wide receiver ones in the upcoming season. So that is a complete recap of all the teams in OTAs, a recap of the breaking news, Jefferson signing a big deal, and same with CMC. And then we talked about some guys that are looking for those lucrative deals in the wide receiver rooms, those contract extensions for Aiyuk, for Higgins, and for CeeDee Lamb. So 30 minutes in, right on time, folks. I'm Mike Lindbergh, senior analyst for the news desk here on the Player Profiler News. We are onboarding still for the Player Profiler News desk. So if you're interested in becoming a content creator, please feel free to reach out to us on our Twitter feed. We have the link up there. So please, if you're interested, shoot us a DM and we shall get back to you. That's it for Player Profiler today. I'm your host, Mike Lindberg, for every Wednesday on the show. I'm excited to be reporting news for y'all for Player Profiler. Moving forward, you can find me here. That is it for today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow when Bradley Stalder takes his spot on the Thursday night slot. From everybody here at Player Profiler, make it a great night, everybody. Cheers.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.